If you actually pay attention to how men truly fall in love, you'll begin to notice something strange. The men that fall in love really fast with a lot of intensity, they fall out of love really fast. But the men who are capable of actual attachment usually fall in love slowly, with familiarity, through routine, through seeing someone enough time that their brains start to associate you with comfort. Honey boo boo, this isn't random. There are real psychological principles behind it. It's the same pattern you see in couples who've been together for decades, and the opposite of those who are on and off relationship. It's built on intensity. I called it the slow drip method. So before we begin and get into the how, let me explain why this works. Because once you understand the psychology, you won't have to chase or perform for attraction ever again. It'll become effortless. Let's begin with that. Before I tell you what to do, I need to explain to you guys why this works. Because we're not gonna be teaching the evil stuff I used to teach. I'm not going to hell. And so if you understand the psychology, you won't have to play games anymore. Evil Alex is not gonna have to come out and teach you guys this. This principle allows attraction to flow naturally, but then the beauty is that it naturally repels guys that waste your time. This is gonna be amazing. So after I'm done explaining this to you, I'm gonna show you guys the how through and through, okay? Now let's begin. So the psychological principles we're gonna be using today is, the first one is the mere exposure effect. I think this is how healthy men fall in love. If they cannot fall in love through the mere exposure effect, they are hedonistic, dopamine-driven, highly ambitious men that don't value human connection as much as dopamine, which means they might be really selfish. The reason why is because it doesn't validate their ego. They need to know they're important. And the mere exposure effect does this. When you meet someone and they're great and they're awesome, the mere exposure after a while, looks don't matter as much. The mere exposure effect allows a man to see you as you, right? And so that's why going slow from the beginning and allowing them to get used to you is the way. But the problem is this, your brain does not releases less dopamine. So what does that mean? That means that if a guy is used to dopamine, novelty, to stay interested, if you gotta do and perform and do spinneroonies and entertain him, the mere exposure effect will expose those guys as dopaminergic men, and these guys usually cheat, right? They usually lose interest really fast after the novelty and the dopamine goes away. Why? Because the mere exposure effect causes people over time to release It's very hard to bond with someone when you're in pleasure-seeking state of mind, right? So the mere exposure effect calms things down. They get used to you. So even if you're not their physical type, you know how if you meet someone and they may not be good looking, right? But then if you see them every day, you forget that they're not good looking. This breaks through the superficiality, okay? This breaks through the superficiality of things. And what's the benefit of the mere exposure effect? That even if you're not their type, they might fall in love. Even if you're not their type, they might fall in love with you because they get used to you over time, right? They see you every day. So that's the first one. So after enough exposure, right, they stop evaluating your looks intensely. It becomes less superficial. You start evaluating how they make you feel. Over time, you forget that they're good looking or unattractive, not kidding. And then you start focusing on the connection you're having with them. There's less dopamine, less distractions, and now they're connecting with you. First month, second month, third month, right? This is toxic, man. Oh my God, I love you. Ooh, toxic, man. Why? There's no slow drip, right? It's very fast, very dopaminergic. Healthy men is like this. It's continual. The problem, this does not produce a high. It doesn't make you high, right? And so if you're the type of person that relies on stimulation, on external validation, they might find you boring and leave you. These guys this method is exposing the toxic guys. So when you do this, this is when coworkers start dating, right? This is when this is when you fall in love with your high school sweetheart, with your college sweetheart, with the neighbor over time. Now the next one, the familiarity principle, these are not spikes. Familiarity principle goes, this is the familiar feeling you start having with someone, the comforting feeling through routine, not through novelty. They see you every day, you're not doing spinner roonies, you're not doing backflips, but then they realize one day, oh my God, I like this person. That's what happens. But the key to this is pretty much based on your social environment. If you're not social, the slow drip, the familiarity principle is not gonna work. You have to allow things to be slow, right? Because what you're doing is that it's almost like Roman bricks versus American bricks. Let me give you an example. Roman brick lasts thousands of years. You wanna know why? Because they actually create the brick through a slow process. They heat it up at a slow pace for weeks, which allows the brick on the inside to harden and it doesn't have any cracks, so it lasts a lifetime. American bricks are made in one day and only heated up once at high temperature. This one is heated up at slow temperatures, which allows it to have more resilience over time. Roman brick, American brick. Like you want the slowness. And if you can't, that says something about you. There's something about you that's very impatient, that's pushing towards a relationship. So now that we explained the psychological principle, let me show you guys how to actually apply it. The like button and subscribe. And for one-on-one coaching, click on the description down below. So this is all about two things: pacing and having the right social situation. You can use a slow drip method if you meet them at a club and they only seen you once, because now they're relying on dopamine, right? You want the dopamine to slowly not fade away, but slowly go down so that he can see you for who you are. And then if he's able to do that, because remember, I said earlier, some guys, if there's no dopamine, in their minds, there's no connection. You can't do this on certain guys. Once that happens, the unconsciously falling in love can occur. So that means that if you're alone all the time, you have no friends, you don't talk to people, you're isolated, this might not work. So things that you could do is think long term. What type of environment would you like to meet people in? Okay, for me, I have a meditation group, okay? And I've seen people meet through that group. I had a girl meet her boyfriend through that group. She came to the art meetings not every day, but she came every few weeks for months. And the same guy kept coming. He was actually a tattoo artist. And what's funny is that he's completely tattooed and she's not. Anyways, they're actually good people. What happened one day is that they ran into each other after the meeting, after months of seeing each other but being too shy. And they ended up going out, and that was a few weeks, but they're still going out. And she says she doesn't date guys like that, but she saw his art. They would chat every now and then, but it wasn't serious. And then they met, and then they realized it was a great encounter, and now they're dating, right? The slow drip method. Sometimes we discriminate. Sometimes we see people and we're like, I would never date them, when in reality, they might be perfect for you. And so you could find the perfect person that fits you. Why? Because over time, you're not judging them based on their looks, right? And so all that's left is how they make you feel. And that becomes a primary focus on why you like them, which is usually just the interaction you guys have. And they're still together. Another one it took me 5 months to fall in love with someone, 5 months. And you know how it happened, right? It was like, it came through going to art events together. Many years ago, I dated this girl. Again, wasn't my type, but she would go to the art events. And when be honest with you, if I met her online, I wouldn't go out with her. But over time, she just made me, when I would talk to her, she just made me feel really, and I started noticing, I used to look forward to seeing her. I would see her once a week. After months of just going there, she left, right? For a few months, and she didn't tell me. She came back all of a sudden, and I did not know I was gonna feel that way for her. I was like, oh my God, she's fucking back, that's crazy. And mind you, she's not my type. She's cute, but just not my type. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. So then I just ended up liking her. She ended up liking me, and we dated for about a few months, right? It was actually really nice, but again, she had to go back to her country, so it didn't work out. So you gotta have those social situations. So that means that maybe you're a parent and you see a certain guy with his kids, and you see him every day when you're picking up your kids. That works, okay? It might mean that you guys you're part of a co-ed team, and you see them every other week or every week consistently. Over time, you get used to them, and then one day you realize you like someone. That's what happens, guys. That's what happens with guys. And usually it's during an absence, right? Now, naturally, I don't want you guys to go evil mode, because this is not evil Alex anymore. I'm not toxic anymore. I don't want you guys to be planning your absences, but just like anything, one day you're gonna miss. One day you're not gonna go, right? You get what I'm saying? And so when that happens, that's when your absence is felt. That's when that hurts, okay? And so what do you have to do this? You do nothing. The real key is the social situation. We have been doing this for millions of years, okay? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be interested, because it's not about dopamine. It's about your boring self, your fucking statue self, just existing. He sees you every day, and he'll find a reason to fall in love with you. Like, he will find a reason to fall in love with you. He will see your beauty. He will see what makes you you. The mere exposure effect will penetrate the exterior, will allow him to see your soul, and he'll feel a deep connection. The key, though, is to not pick a target. Just go there. So if you say there's no good looking guys here, okay, then go to another one hiking. Go to a meditation group if you like meditating, and go consistently. Go to a parent-teacher conference. Go to a volunteering in your neighborhood. The key is this: in your neighborhood. I don't want you guys to be going to fucking Timbuktu in Africa to find your guy. No, I don't want you guys to be going to the middle of the Serengeti. Meet people in your area code, and most importantly, your age or older if you're a woman. So when this happens, co-workers, that's when co-workers start dating. You're like, damn, they're dating, but she's prettier than him. How does that happen? Right? That happens. Or damn, he's hard. Like that happens a lot. Friends become attractive over time. Right? That happens a lot. Someone becomes cuter over the months, right? Absence, all of a sudden, they when you're not there, it hurts. It's like that, the co-workers. So Pam and Jim are a perfect example of the slow drip method, right? So once she becomes familiar with him, she meets him, but nothing crazy happens, right? She looks forward to seeing him. And then comfortable become emotionally important. All of a sudden now she needs to see him. And when she wasn't there, he all of a sudden felt her absence. That's a slow burn attraction, right? When you're around someone consistently in a relaxed environment, your brain starts associating them with safety and normalcy. Eventually you stop evaluating them just on looks and start evaluating them based on how they make you feel, okay? And again, you do nothing. You're just there like a statue. And they'll make up shit, right? I really do hope this is encouraging. This video is to tell you guys, you don't need to do backflips. You do not need to overperform, okay? All you gotta do is just be yourself, be there, and let their imaginations do the dirty work. Look for the people whose brains connect with you through creating attraction, okay? So if you guys enjoyed this video, check out my new course, The Commitment Formula. It's a course that I created that uses the slow drip method. It's the principles behind that course is the slow drip method, making a guy fall in love and finding the right guy that wants commitment. So if you want a whole course based on this topic, just pre-order it. We're gonna start recording in about 2 or 3 weeks. We're gonna have the first section of the course finished by this month, and we're gonna be recording this course in about 4 to 5 months, meaning we're gonna be doing live recordings with the people who purchased it. So if you guys enjoy that, click on the description down below, and see you guys next time.